the whole reason of why I put that bucket strategy in place as well is I'm trying to build something sustainable long term, not just to make quick flips now because I got to make this work because I got to put food on the table. And again, I'm very grateful that I'm in that place. But I say that because I think a lot of other people are. There's a lot of pressure. Go all in. You got to, and if you want to like do it, there's nothing wrong with that either. But for me, the bucket strategy works because it's built on not selling cards fast, but feeling confident that you will sell them eventually for profit. So that's what I'm trying to do, build it sustainable.
Hey guys, welcome back to the 1,000 Card Project podcast. I'm your host, Ron McKeefery, and super excited about Mike coming on the show. Mike's the creator behind the Cardzoo SportsCards on YouTube. It's actually one of the first YouTube channels that I came across when I was, kind of researching this project, and puts out great stuff, pretty regularly, and somebody that I've appreciated from afar. I know others do as well. So, man, I appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk sports cards with someone other than my wife. She's probably gonna hit me at some point. So she's probably more excited about this than I am, to be honest with you.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, I know I haven't got my wife to get into it at all, but
she's not into it. To clarify, she's not into it. I just talk about it.
So dude, it's a one-way. I get that. No,
yeah.
no, well, then we're on the same page there for sure. One question I've always wanted to ask you, just kind of watching your stuff, where did Cardzoo, the name, come from? What was the story behind that?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's a little bit opposite of kind of where I am now a little bit, but I wanted something that from a marketing standpoint, because if you look at the logo, it does, a lot of kids buy cards, you know what I mean? Like it does kind of have like a funner, like kids type feel, like it's a zoo. There's some animals on the logo, like an elephant, I think, playing with the basketball and stuff. But I also wanted to show like, okay, I'm selling all sports cards, all types of sports cards. So it's almost like at the zoo, you have all different types of animals. And so it's like the cards that, I don't think it's a fully unique name. There might be another Cardzoo out there, not in the sports card space, but yeah, that's kind of how I decided on that. And I still sell all sports cards. I know we'll talk about this as we get into it. I mostly kind of focus on hockey now, but I have all sports kind of listed in my store. So that's how I came up with it.
So, we all kind of have a similar journey, right? We've collected, we got away from it, maybe we came back, all those types of things. We kind of started this, this selling thing on the side to kind of maybe fund the collection and all that. But at what point did you decide to kind of take it serious and say, okay, I'm gonna put some content around this. I'm going to document this journey. I want to share it, and I want to make a little bit of money doing it. Like, at what point did that kind of happen for you?
Yeah, as a kid, we had cards, we had baseball cards and hockey cards, but it was never like, we're getting this set. I need all the players of my favorite team, like it wasn't anything like that. It was just, we had them, we got them. Probably most of them were my brothers, we had them in a book. You grew up, didn't really do much with it. It was like a year after, I think, COVID. And maybe it was subconsciously, but there was nothing consciously like, the COVID boom, everybody's cleaning out their attic. It was nothing like that. Maybe I just heard about it more because it was in the, on YouTube more, but I just got the idea somehow like, oh, I'm going to get a box of hockey cards, for those that don't follow my channel, like hockey is really the only sport I follow. And we'll talk about how that fits into like my strategy, but I grew up watching all sports, going to all sports games, but hockey's just kind of the one that stuck for me. So I bought a box of hockey cards and, it's going to be portfolio diversification from like a business standpoint and whatever. But I opened the box and man, I was just a kid in a candy store. I was like, this is the coolest thing. I don't think I've held a sports card. Like that was 2021. I don't think I held a sports card since probably 1993 or 4. It's like, oh my gosh, this is the player that I watch on the TV. It was, but yeah, then I initially started with sports cards doing, on another channel I have called Puck Mike, where I don't do much on it yet. I'm keeping it to kind of figure out what I want to do with it. But I was opening hockey cards on the channel. It was a box break channel. And quickly it was like, well, I don't want to have to spend $100 just to record a video because you need a box of cards, right? So I was like, I got to change course here. So I was listing those cards on eBay because, I got all these cards. Now might as well sell them, right? And then I think I just started to notice other channels documenting like their journeys and sports card selling journeys. And I was like, I'll just do the same thing I did with with Puck Mike, and I'm just going to start another channel and no pressure. I'm going to see where it goes. I think my first video was I was holding my phone like, hey, I'm in my bedroom here. Here's my cards in my drawer. You know what I mean? I think it's still on my channel if you want to go back and watch it. But like, yeah, I didn't really start taking it seriously, like probably, I don't remember exactly. Once you have kids, as you know, I don't remember anything pretty much. That's the sleep deprivation for you. But I think probably 6 months to a year into casually selling on eBay is when I was like, all right, let me get a little more serious. I'm not just going to list this for like 99 cents because whatever, like let me check the comps. Let me watch some other channels like business advice type of stuff. And then, yeah, just kind of kept growing from there.
You know, you mentioned the shift to hockey, more hockey, and I think you've always maybe focused on hockey, but then got it to other sports. You know, what was you put out a good video about this, about, you know, really kind of, you know, what you love, what you watch is really where you should put your emphasis. You know, what was the precipice to kind of really say, I'm going to double down on hockey?
Yeah. You know, I started with just hockey because that's the boxes I was opening on the other channel. So it was kind of a dumb decision, like lesson learned. Like I gained a really good so hockey in Canada is football in the US. It's you know, it's their religion. That's you know what I mean? Like you're skating at 2. If you're skating at 2, it's already too late. You know, you need to be skating at 1. And so I kind of gained a good following in my store initially. This was before CardzooSportsCards. I think I called my store like Card Sells something with like a hockey logo. And then I shifted my shipping preferences a little bit in the eBay store to focus more a little bit on the US side. And so I shifted away from hockey when I did that, because it's not as prominent in the US. Baseball, football is kind of the big ones, at least has been for the last few years. So did that, started to pick up some steam. But like, as I was getting into that, number one, I got overwhelmed because it's just a lot. Like, you know, you're not only tracking the rookies and prospects from one sport, you're tracking rookies and prospects from all sports. There's so much that goes into like, you know, when the card is going to sell and how much it's going to sell for. And that's not just for people that are prospecting or like doing investment cards for $100 or $200 trying to sell at the right time. That's just in general, you know, knowing when some baseball cards might sell or some football cards might not. And, you know, you don't want to list a card that is a $100 card for $299 and you don't really, oh man, I made that mistake. Oh no. So I got overwhelmed with it. And then I also got to a point where it was like, I'm also not really enjoying having to research who the top football rookies are, who the number 1 draft pick is coming up. Like, how did the team perform? Are they rebuilding in a slump? Whatever. I'm not having fun doing that. I'm hating every second of it, you know, for the non-hockey sports. I casually, you know, every now and then on YouTube, of course, I'll get like, how are the Pirates doing? Because I got Pittsburgh Penguins all over my feed. You know, how are the Steelers doing? But I don't watch the games and stuff like that. And so for me, making this switch back to hockey kind of came at a time where, and again, I still sell those other sports in my store. I actually like those cards. Like, I think they're cool, like the football cards. And I know a lot of those players just by hearing about them casually, but I'm not going to spend the extra time researching, and I'm just not going to do that. It doesn't interest me. But with hockey, you know, I was looking for like, okay, I was kind of at a place where I was like, okay, I'm kind of feel like I'm hitting a wall here, trying all these new things. I feel like I'm just doing what everybody else is doing right now. I'm just throwing something at the wall and seeing what sticks. Like, okay, if no one really thinks that hockey cards sell in the US, which a lot of people don't, I say this all the time on my channel, if you think that's true, you're not selling the right hockey cards, because I am proof. You can go look at all the sales I have on my store. Like, I follow hockey regardless of if I'm doing sports cards. I'm checking the scores of the other team. I'm checking the prospects for the 2026 draft. I'm looking at minor league scores. I do all that regardless of sports cards because I just love hockey. I used to play hockey when I was a kid and when I was in high school. I just love it. Like, so I don't think you can underestimate how much that knowledge gives you an edge in the market. If this team is, you know, going into a big rebuilding phase, they're going to suck for 5 years. If you're not really following hockey, you might not know that, but I've been watching them trend the last couple of years. They just got, you know, a new coach. It's not working. They've tried everything. They've traded, they've drafted, they have good players, but they just are terrible. That could impact the team players. I might not go buy a lot of that team. You know what I mean? But if you don't follow closely, I mean, you're not going to know that. And so for me, it was kind of just, how do I make that pivot, I think, to something a little bit more niche in a very, very crowded space. And so I decided to kind of go back to hockey. And at first I was like, well, I don't want to, should I share this on my channel? Because also from like a business standpoint, if most sellers don't really think that hockey's popular in the US, like, you're not going to have as much demand for those lots. And so I have an opportunity to buy cheaper inventory, you know, and get better deals. And I was hesitant to share that at first, but again, I know that I have more knowledge than other, like if someone who doesn't watch hockey is going to go try to put that method into practice, I still know I have an edge because I followed the sport more, closer. And so I figured, you know what, I'm just going to share this out and hopefully it helps somebody who's maybe they really love baseball and they're just going to focus on baseball. So that's kind of how it got me going back to, and I feel like it's a good, it's about 3 to 6 months into that. And I feel it's a lot of the other stuff I tried previously didn't really stick. You try it a couple months and you're like, that's not working. This one so far has stuck. So it feels right so far. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, it's a couple things there that I really want to come back to. Is, I mean, I identify with that so much because I love to give freely, like, of my information, my knowledge, whether it's in sports cards or elsewhere. But there is a little bit of a tactical, like, decision of, like, do I really want to share this? Like, I feel
Right.
like so I can identify with that a little bit. But I wanted to come back to the hockey, but I think since we're here, I think we might as well just stay here. One question I had with that strategy, because I had a similar approach with football, because that's the sport I played and know and coached and all those things early on. But then you start hearing all the content, all the information about the buy-in seasons and the off season. Are your sales going to be there because there's no attention and those types of things? Have you run into that at all?
I don't really pay attention to it much, to be honest with you, because, the sports card market is a market where the buyers are the sellers, but the sellers are the buyers. So it's just this convoluted, like, so yeah, it might be the off season for whatever sport. So I'm going to go ahead and buy that. And the price is going to be cheaper, but probably not that much because you have a bunch of other sellers like myself running to buy that item because it's the off season, because it's going to be cheaper, and then demand goes up, and so then the price goes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really follow that too much. I mean, like, even going back to hockey and then starting I know we'll get into like the card bucket method I'm kind of doing simultaneously. Like, I sold a lot of hockey cards this summer, like June and July, which is, you have some peaks from the draft and free agency and stuff like that, and then some hype building into the season. But I honestly stopped paying attention to that, to be honest. What I more focus on now is key milestones of certain players and teams. Like last year, Alexander Ovechkin, he broke Wayne Gretzky's goal record. I wish I could say I did this on purpose. I didn't. But at the beginning of the year, so I opened a couple boxes of the Washington Capitals. They have a commemorative set from like when they won the Stanley Cup. The Upper Deck usually releases those for the teams that win. I bought like 2 boxes of them, put them up as a variation listing. I sold a decent amount of them, and so I bought a whole case of it for like $100. And I threw all those, and I still have a whole bunch I got to add to the variation listing. But I threw all those up on the variation listing before last season. And the whole season, the hype around the Washington Capitals was insane because everyone was waiting for Alexander Ovechkin to break the goal record. And I sold a lot from that listing, and I wasn't even thinking about that. But those are more the things that when I do think about it, those are the things I focus on more so than I do in-season, off-season swings, because honestly, I haven't really noticed a huge difference in the market in-season, out-of-season. Just because, like I said, I mean, buyers are trying to buy all the time. So it's,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, sellers are trying to buy all the time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you're a fan of hockey, then you're trying to buy that all the time as well. I think I think you're absolutely right. And I think you do have to niche down if you're gonna build any kind of sustainable business or any kind of footprint in the hobby business, then you have to be known for something, I think, and I had a couple of guests on about that have gone down that rabbit hole as well. And I do think being known for something, and just like you said, like, it doesn't mean that you're not going to sell a football card or you won't buy a football card if you come across a good price or things along those lines. For me, it's just percentage wise, right? Like maybe 80% of my inventory is football, and then I'm going to dabble in these other sports. But I want to focus on the key players or the liquid players in those other sports. Since most of the people that are going to listen to this are probably in the US and they go by those big three. I know hockey well enough to know, like, the young guns is maybe the card to kind of focus on for a lot of, but what are the cards? What are the sets that you should focus on? And maybe what are a few players that are, if you're out and about and you're at a dollar box, you come across hockey cards, pick this guy up.
Yeah. I don't like to give that advice too much. In fact, I don't think I have any video on my channel that says, you won't see videos on my channel that says buy this top rookie now. Like,
Yeah.
Obviously your Gretzky's and although I have not seen as many sales from him since Alexander Ovechkin broke his record. So Ovechkin, I think, will be a good sale for a while. Even some like, $2.99 cards. I've sold a lot of his, a lot of like in that range. You know what I mean? On like a more general, like if I were to pick like to someone who doesn't follow as much, like, yeah, what are the best cards to get into? Young Guns are pretty good because, you have a lot of players that they might play like one game and then Upper Deck will put them in the series one as a Young Guns. And then they go back to NCAA. And then 2 years later, they come back and they have 2 weeks where they score 5 goals. And, all of a sudden their card's selling for $3.99. So Young Guns have, if you don't know again, this is assuming you're not going to really do much research on it. Like those cards have a tendency to have more upside without you having to research if there's going to be upside, if that makes sense. There's also, they do a CHL. They do CHL boxes, which is part of it's a Canadian league. Those are all young players. Same exact scenario. There might be somebody, when those are released, a lot of those players are kind of nobodies, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, they get drafted. All of a sudden there's some hype there. These are mostly all low end stuff. Like occasionally maybe you'll get a Young Guns that's, you hit the jackpot, and like I sold one, I got one that was Tage Thompson. He plays for the Buffalo Sabres now. I bought his for $8. I sold it like 6 months later for like $170. But that's not going to happen all the time, But I think, yeah, Young Guns, some of those, any product that has, because hockey is there's a long-term development plan for hockey. It's rare that they come right into the league just because of, yeah. So any product that has players being released at a younger age, you have better upside. Again, if you're not going to spend time like researching who to buy at that specific time, if that makes sense.
The CHL cards, is that similar to like Bowman First and that kind of?
No, I mean, it's just a set that league puts out, yeah, before the player. Usually they haven't played any NHL games usually at that point. It's just a junior league, yeah.
You mentioned your 3 bucket strategy, that you're kind of going with now. I thought this was really, again, when you look at it and, the terms like the alternative assets or the portfolios or those types of terms, like taken for what they are, but like having this approach where you have certain buckets that you're kind of putting your cards into and you have a different sales strategy maybe for each bucket. What are those 3 buckets and kind of what's your strategy with those spaces?
Yep. Yes. It's pretty simple. And I have the video on my channel, and this is completely, I also want to share this as a free thing. I'm not selling a course that this isn't like, this is a proven method. Go do it now. Guarantee you're going to make it, $10,000. I mean, it's something that I've just started trying here in the last few months, but basically you got, 3 buckets. You have your bucket A, which is your dollar box bin cards. I'm not a dollar box bin store, but everybody has that box at the card table, right? At the card show, they have a dollar box, 50 cent, 25, whatever. That's your bucket A. Your bucket B this is kind of the bread and butter for me. This is where I make my profit. These are the curated items. It's not high dollar items. It's pretty much anything in maybe a really can be up to anywhere, but it's usually $2 to $4, maybe $6 range. That's what I'm going to sell it for. And then bucket C is investment cards. So those are cards which I don't do this very often at all, but those are cards I go out and, okay, I'm going to buy. It's usually a little bit more high dollar. I'm going to buy, this PSA 10 for $100. This is an absolutely nobody player. He was drafted in the 7th round, but I don't know. I just got a hunch that, he's not going to be a Wayne Gretzky, but I just got a hunch that he's going to have some hype when he finally makes it to the big leagues. So those are the 3 buckets. I was kind of loosely doing this already, but number one, putting pen to paper just kind of helped me see kind of what I'm doing and help affect my other strategies from like a sourcing perspective and listing perspective. But it also helped me price cards more effectively to move them. So when I first started, I was all about like 100% of the time, if you watch some of my earlier videos, like 100% of the time you have to sell a card for profit. You should never lose money on a card.
Right.
The reality is some cards just aren't worth, they're just worth what they're worth. You know what I mean? And so those pretty much, like a card might only be worth $1.25, and that's pretty much all you're ever going to get out of it. I usually put that into bucket A. And if it's just unique enough to list it, maybe it is a base card, but it is Wayne Gretzky, or it is Alexander Ovechkin, or maybe it's from the 70s, or maybe it's Quebec Nordiques. They don't have a hockey team anymore. Maybe there's some nostalgia there. Like it's just unique enough. Or maybe it isn't a parallel or insert or a really cool card, but the condition's not so great. A lot of times I'll put that into bucket A. normally I'd put it into B, but hey, it's not that great of a condition. I'm just going to put it in here to move it. So for me, those are kind of the dollar box bin. I want people the hope is people come and see that and they say, I'm just going to grab that. Oh, but I didn't realize, they look over in the other case. I see you also have these other cards. I'm going to buy some of those too and come back and buy those later. And that's the curated bucket. That's the rare, not one of ones, parallels, any type of shiny card, a number to 199, anything that I know. And this is the biggest uh, strategy within the strategy. Anything I know and feel confident that will sell over time, it's going to go into that bucket. Because and again, the whole reason I put this into place was, I'm not trying to make quick flips. I'm in a unique position where, I have a day job and I enjoy that mostly. I'm not,
Right.
not in here during the day thinking I hate my life. I have to get out of this and make sports cards work because I need to have this flexibility with my family and I need to see my kids. Like, I work from home and I'm very, very grateful for that. And I can do all of those things now. I can go to the Father's Day with donuts at school drop off and nobody has to even know about it. I can go and pick up the kid when they're sick. Nobody has to even know about it. And that's something that I don't take for granted at all. I know because I know everybody's not in that situation. So for me, the whole reason of why I put that bucket strategy in place as well is I'm trying to build something sustainable long term, not just to make quick flips now because I got to make this work because I got to put food on the table. And again, I'm very grateful that I'm in that place. But I say that because I think a lot of other people are. There's a lot of pressure. Go all in. You got to, and if you want to do it, there's nothing wrong with that either. But for me, the bucket strategy works because it's built on not selling cards fast, but feeling mostly confident that you will sell them eventually for profit. So that's what I'm trying to do, build it sustainable. I have cards that haven't sold for 2 years and somebody buys it and I make profit on it. I'm fine with that. Because I don't need that card to buy food, and so
Right.
that's kind of how I put the strategy in place in the first place, if that makes sense.
With that strategy, are you basically making it to where it's there's a certain buy price and a certain sell price for each category, and you're sticking to three and three, or do you this card's selling for $6 and this one's selling for $4, but I bought it for 80 cents or whatever, right? Like, do you try to find what that max is, or do you just say I bought it for 80 cents, I'm gonna sell it for $2.99?
Yeah, I don't do like a certain margin markup. Like, I got to make 20% or just because the margins are all different. Like, and then when I factor in like the shipping supplies and stuff like into my total margin of my total profit. And like, those are changing all the time. I buy new top loaders. They're 10 cents this time versus 5 cents this time. So I don't do a percentage markup per se. I have kind of normal tiers of like, I offer free shipping unless it's a high price item where it's like a graded card, or I do have an option if people buy like a 99-cent card, they can pay for ground advantage if they want, and I'll do it that way if they want it in a bubble mailer. But I do free shipping because it makes my pricing model so much easier, and I think it makes it easier for the customer. Like, we don't have to go and add, okay, 85 plus, so usually the bucket A is pretty much $1.99 under free shipping. And I'm usually not making profit on that. Like the $1.99 ones, I might make profit, maybe $1.75, depending on, if I got some of my big lots, the card cost is like 5-6 cents. But I know that I'm not making in profit on those ones. Again, it's just kind of to generate some buzz. Bucket B is usually $2 to $4 to $6, but it can go up to. There's not a limit on that at all. I have a card that's like bucket B right now. I have it listed for like $29. That's not, doesn't mean I'm going to get that, but it's low numbered. There wasn't any out there when I searched for it. Supply and demand, hoping somebody bites. I'll probably lower it at some point, but generally it's $2 to $4, maybe up to $6 is really 2 to 4 is that's kind of the big the range usually for bucket B.
Yeah, it's something that the reason why I ask is I have not a similar strategy. Like, what I'm trying to do is look at things from two angles right now, right? I have I enjoy the dollar box. I enjoy going through those and finding those gems and, just cool cards and nostalgia and all the things that kind of go along with that. And I like the profit margin return on those. I mean, you're looking at sometimes 100%, 200% on, those cards. Now, you're not going to get rich off of that, right? So you need to have the opposite as well. And I'm not trying to get rich. But so what I try to do is if I have my buy price for a dollar card under whatever and I sell it for $2.99, I know I'm going to profit $1 a card. So I'm just trying to move those as fast as possible to take that $100, $200, $400, whatever I'm going to get each week and buy $400 cards that are going to be more of those investment bucket cards.
Right.
Those are going to be Hall of Famers, or I'm good with sticking those in the safe and just seeing what happens 10 years from now. And so but it's a strategy that I fight the time that goes into, if I know that my dollar cost average for this stack of dollar cards was 80 cents, sometimes I'd rather just say, all right, these are all going to be $3.99 or $2.99, whatever it is, and not even think about looking up comps,
Right.
and just move them fast.
Yeah.
And so that's why I asked. I love the strategy. I love, and you really convicted me and challenged me to kind of, is there a middle bucket for me? Is there a middle option in what I'm doing? But when you talked about the buying piece, how are you going about identifying? I know you know this from watching your videos, but for the sake of this video, are you buying lots and breaking those down and selling them as singles? You have a couple saved searches that you're really targeting, maybe those investment cards?
Sure. Yeah, I pretty much just buy on eBay right now. A lot of people will tell you that's not the best place to source lots, and they're possibly likely maybe right. I don't have time to buy anywhere else. I don't have time to go on with the kids, and there's not a free slot on our calendar to spend Saturday morning to meet some guy in the Walgreens parking lot to see his sports card collection I bought from Facebook Marketplace. I don't have time to do that, nor do I want to. I don't want to miss the gymnastics and the swimming with the kids to do that stuff. So right now it's all just on eBay, is where I buy my lots. And it's, like I said, it's all lots. I have a couple saved sellers that I go back to that have pretty not unique. It's kind of exactly what I'm looking for when it comes to the price point. I've been a little bit careful of, this is a little bit opposite to I think what some sellers will tell you. I've been a little bit careful of being somebody's main, this is my main supplier. I get my cards from this person, because what happens when they have cards and you don't want to buy, you might feel pressure to buy. And then you find out they don't actually care about me that much because they already sold that lot to somebody else. Now they're going to go to them next. They just want to sell cards. So I've kind of stayed away from that a little bit, because I just want to buy cards when I want to buy them with no strings attached. If I was doing something maybe more scale, I could see where that would be beneficial. But yeah, I'll buy, and I do a lot of offers on multiple listings for the same seller. So over the summer, when I just started this bucket strategy, I bought 5,000 cards from someone over. It was probably 10 or 12 listings that they had. I brought them all up in a browser because I wanted to make the offers pretty quick at the same time. I put a note in there that said, hey, I'm making an offer on 12 listings. Hope you accept. And, I was able to get a lower price because of that, because they can see I'm spending $300. I mean, it was 5,000 cards. It was 6 cents a card. I mean, and I'm still making, that's going to go for a long time. That's my bucket B. That's the sustainable, as I get more curated, that's the goal too, is to get more curated with bucket B. Over time, maybe it does become more rare parallels, and a lot of bucket B shifts to bucket of what is now bucket B shifts to bucket A. The goal is to get more curated over time. And so I'm getting ready this month to buy my next round of inventory based on my sales, and I have certain amounts I buy when I hit a certain point, and et cetera. I'm going to try to get a couple smaller lots that have some more curated cards, more unique cards, some autographs, maybe some numbered cards, things like that, so that I can get that more curated. But as far as what I buy, it's all lots on eBay. I did venture out into My Card Post recently. I heard about that and ventured out into that, and I listed one card on there so far. So go check it out. CardzooSportsCards on My Card Post. I don't have a discount code. I'm not there yet. But yeah, I saw some cards on there too. It's a little bit slim on the hockey stuff for what I'm looking for. So right now it's just eBay. You can still on eBay. It takes a lot of time. The sourcing is the number one hardest thing to do for me, and I know for a lot of people it just takes so much time to do it right.
That seems to be a recurring theme for sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned you mentioned a card may sell. You got it bought at the rate that you want to buy it. It might sit 2 years, but you're going to make profit on it, right? You did a video not too long ago about your storage closet, or how you have that set up, and which I thought was really good, and people should go watch that. But that's the biggest fear I have for me, is I don't want to have closets of cards and those types of things. And so I'm really trying to keep things condensed, or and have tools and things like that. One of the other things I really like about your content is You do, or at least you used to do like a video where you kind of broke down your sales and you had, I think you maybe even custom built the software that you're using or whatever to kind of do that, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
What are some of those tools and some of those tips for storage? And because you're busy, right? You got kids, you got a full time job, you got husband responsibilities, all those types of things. That was one of the approaches I took early on because I was coaching 16 hours a day. Like I didn't have time to put a lot. So I went ahead and bought the Rico right away and did those things because time was more precious to me than those resources. But for you, what are those tools and what are those strategies to kind of keep things, you know, condensed so that your wife's not screaming at you to say, get this car?
Well, she would not do that. She'll just say, "Can you go on that podcast again so you can talk to him about cards and not me?" No, she's not that type of. She'll let me do, whatever. She's great. No, I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head a little bit from a philosophical standpoint. I guess is the biggest thing before you go into sports cards is I think you need to, and as you're going through it, you got to reassess what's most important to you in life. Like if you got 4 kids, I don't have 4 kids, got 2 kids. If you got 4 kids and there's stuff everywhere and you're living in a 2-bedroom apartment trying to save for the next house, and you just really love sports cards, you want to make it work, by all means, go ahead and see what you can do. But maybe you're not at the phase at that moment to buy a 30,000 card collection, right? Because you got nowhere to put it. I think coming to that realization sooner rather than later in your sports card selling journey will save you a lot of buying that you might do of cards that you don't need, because it's fun, right? So I think that's the biggest thing in terms of a underlying principle. In terms of practical tips, I always, as soon as I buy the collection, again, doing this on a smaller scale because that's what fits with my life right now. I'm listing 10 cards a day. That's fairly manageable. I cannot go a single card more because that's decent work, 10 cards a day. But that when I get the amount of cards, when I buy cards and bring them in the house, from the front porch or from the PO box, based on how much I'm listing, it's manageable enough where I can go through those pretty quick. A first pass of I'm the inventory intake team, you know what I mean? The warehouse intake team. I do that first thing. Number one, it's fun, right? That's the funnest part. And number two, when you do it enough, you see okay, this is going to go in Goodwill. That's the other thing too. I send so many cards to Goodwill. If after a certain point, I have boxes right here that are going to Goodwill. Why are you holding on to them? Kids are going to go to Goodwill. They're going to see it. This is great. I send so many cards to Goodwill. I don't keep them unless it's one I know that might increase in value. But if I got one for 3 for sale in the store right now. Yeah, this is a card that has value, but I got 3 of them. I don't need 3 more. I'm just it's a $3 card. It's going to Goodwill. So I go through the cards initially. I do that initial Goodwill listing, not sure, need to revisit, maybe great. I mean, I kind of separate some out initially, and then I just keep going through it as time goes on. I'll if I need to go list cards again, I'll do the same thing. Oh, you know what? This is actually Goodwill. I got this from another collection, or this player just got arrested. He's in jail for 10 years. That's going to all go to Goodwill. I think you just have to keep it going. There's just that temptation of I love having the cards around me and they're all surrounding me. And it's just this episode of Hoarders where you feel comfortable. I just think you have to be diligent about, and you have to have a system. You have to have, otherwise you're going to buy that box. It's going to sit on the floor. You're going to pick a few cards here and there, and then you're going to buy another collection. You're not going to go through it. You gotta go through the inventory intake, put them in I'm going to list these pile, and then list them as time, you know what I mean? And then take them to Goodwill. You're not going to make money on every card, especially buying bulk lots. You're going to have a lot of junk that is just Goodwill, or sometimes if a card's ripped out, or bent so much, I just throw it away. That's just the way it goes. Every business has waste, they call it, that just goes in the trash. That's part of their cost that's built in,
And so in that process that you have, what are those tools? Are you listed with Card Dealer Pro? Or are you using the eBay bulk upload? Are you putting it in, when you put it into your software in your system, is that a spreadsheet that you're typing in?
So I use the scanner, the Epson, whatever it's called.
The 601?
ES 400 or something like that. Yeah. I use that. Works great. I'll scan those in, and then I'll upload those to, if you have at least a basic store subscription on eBay, you can they basically have a Card Dealer Pro built within eBay. I've tried Card Dealer Pro. It hasn't worked for me. eBay has this too, some cards don't match, but there were just too many cards that were not matching. I don't have time. It's why am I even it's not worth it to have to go then. And I still go through every card, make sure it's the right year, the right parallel. Like, but for me, I'm already in eBay. I'm already paying for it with a basic store subscription. Why would I pay for another subscription to something else? Unless I'm listing on Collix, which I know you do. So that's what I do. I list it on eBay through that tool, and it goes. I inventory it right away after I list it. I don't let them sit and say, I'm gonna put these away tomorrow. All my stack of boxes I have on my video, like you said, ABC's 1, 2, 3. It's pretty much the same method that Burbank Sports Cards does, only they do it by set as well. But it's, you got all the A's in one section. You have the little card that says A, and then do it by number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like I can go pick any card out of there based on the number of the card and the first letter of the last name of the player. As soon as I list them, they go inventory right at that. That's the whole process. Like that happens now because I know I'm going to have a stack of cards that I listed that I don't know who to find where, and then just stick into that process.
Yeah. That's, I would think for those who are listening, I recently watching your videos and watching others, like start an inventory system from the very beginning. Don't do the alphabet, and think that you're going to go find a name and all that.
Yep.
It adds up fast. And
right.
I'm trying to refine my process right now because I'm like you, like I have an analytical kind of brain and I want to know what I paid for it, what it sold for, what that profit was. So taking that from Car Dealer Pro or others and putting that into my spreadsheet and having it so I can do my graphs and all those types of things, like to get my snapshot, that's the time consuming piece for me right now that I'm trying to improve. But yeah, I think what you said about staying on top of your inventory, not having that death pile, not having those things add up. That's how you keep things going out and you don't get overwhelmed with those types of things. But, I think for what you're doing right now, where you're really dialing in your strategy and you're focused on things, where do you see your business kind of going over the next 6-12 months?
I have no idea, Ron. No, I'm kidding. Well, like I said, I feel good about the bucket method strategy. Like and you can go back and watch like my videos on my channel. Like I tried so many different things. Like it was like every month I was trying something new, trying to see, which is, try to see what sticks, what works. This one I feel good about to really know if it's going to work. I think at least a year, maybe 2 years, because, I've shifted the store back, right? So like now I'm trying to get some of those Canadian buyers back. The last 3 to 6 months have been a challenge in that respect because there's been a postal strike on and off in Canada. And so I haven't had that many sales there, right? Like, cause usually they just warehouse it. And a lot of buyers that know that, like they know it's going to go in a warehouse and when the strike's over, it'll get delivered, but not everybody wants to wait for their card, And so I think next 6 to 12 months is keeping the bucket method going, refining bucket B a lot more. Like I said, getting more unique cards, but also growing the channel too. Like, I think people also forget to like, you're not just building a sports card business. I mean, you're building a sports card brand, and I don't say that to say like everybody has to have a YouTube channel, but not every business makes money by one single product or in one single way. There are a lot of different pieces of the pie, and YouTube is one of those for me. Like the months I get a YouTube payment, from being monetized, those are basically the months where I make profit and basically the months where I can buy my next round of inventory, And so, and you look at a lot of other channels that will break down their sales a lot more like transparent channels. Like, they have the YouTube money, they have the card money, and then they also have, there's affiliate marketing months, so I think also just kind of looking for other ways or continuing to grow YouTube in that way so that, because that's just another piece of the pie. But right now I'm at 10 cards a day. I don't know. I want to continue that maybe for 6 months. I'll reevaluate. Like because again, I don't want to outgrow my setup. Like I don't want to have to stuff cards in the drawer in the other room and wait, where's the graded ones? Or wait, I put W to Z in the closet in there. Like I don't want to have to do that. And so maybe as I get more curated, the cards in bucket B costs a little more, and maybe I don't list 10 cards a day. Maybe I'm down to 3 cards a day because the price has gone a little higher. You know what I mean? So but all of that I got to see. Like it's, again, I'm learning this method. It's proven per se. Like I'm just kind of learning it, and it's worked so far. I think I've sold, since I started it and since coming back to hockey, I think I might have sold almost 200 cards, not a millionaire, but it's not, the business isn't tanking. Like it's working to some, and a lot of those cards have been hockey in the off season. Yeah. So yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. That was going to be my next question, is why the benefit of building a brand on YouTube and how that's been, helped your card business. But I think you're right. I mean, I think no business is singularly focused by doing, the things. And I think I've always lived by, if you teach, like if you just document your process, there's always somebody that's a step behind that's going to learn from you, right? And if you teach and you refine your convictions and your processes and your systems, and it makes you better as whatever you're doing. So I know watching your stuff and seeing you tweak this and tweak that, that's what I identified with your content right away, was just that you sharing that, but then taking us on that journey, and it kind of helps you avoid maybe some things that you're like, I was going to go that, but then that was a great point,
Right.
and
Right.
maybe avoid it. But we've got two last things here. One is just kind of a advice from you on the 1,000 card project, right? So as we shoot this, the 1,000 card project sitting at like, I think it's 1,000 cards, right? But it's sitting at about 6,000 plus on the value, so about $6 a card. What would be your advice on how to level that up to get from $6 to maybe $20 a card?
I mean, I think you just got to do the right research. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what like everyone wants to do, right? They want to get the $5 card on eBay that sells for $20 and they can level up. I mean, I think what you said earlier about you're not necessarily gonna nickel and dime a card that maybe will sell for $10. As long as you can make profit on it, get you money now to get you to the next phase.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really think there's anything wrong with that. Like realistically, if you have a good handle on like the Gretzky rookie from '79, or a one of one of Patrick Mahomes, like if you have a good handle on the ones that you're not going to go back and look at, like, wow, I could have made $20,000. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, a few dollars here and there to get you to that next phase, it's probably worth it, right? Like I think I would just keep doing that method and not focus on like, oh, I could have had an extra few dollars here. I could have had an extra few dollars there. If that's what your goal is now, then just do that, that would be my advice, is just kind of, do what
I
you're
think
doing.
I think that's kind of where I'm at with it. Is it's focused on knowing, like you mentioned, the '79 Gretzky, right? Or knowing like the '86 tops traded Bo Jackson's going to sell for $15, right? So if I can find that for 8, that's an automatic buy, each time, and knowing that price point, that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. But I appreciate that. We kind of end the show with some quick questions here. So PC card you'll never sell.
I don't have it yet. I want to buy these. I want to buy these cards that Upper Deck came out with, that artifacts. It's an artifact of the seats at the old Pittsburgh Penguins Civic Arena, which is not there anymore. It's like a parking lot now. But that's the arena I went to growing up, with my dad and my brother going to the games. So those cards could have a seat relic of the seat that I sat in. It's probably like one from the lobby, or something. But no, once I have those would be hard. There's, again, it's not hard for me to send cards to Goodwill. I don't have a huge PC because I try not to get too attached, but those would be ones that would be, once I have them, once I finally buckle down and buy them, those would be hard to give up.
Favorite hockey player of all time?
Man. I'm going to go with Sidney Crosby. I would have said Mario Lemieux because he saved the Penguins since he came out of retirement and bought them.
You.
I'd say Crosby just because, I'd say Crosby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a non-hockey card that you really either want or?
I don't think any. That shows you how much I love hockey.
Yeah.
You know what? I do want to get some golf cards. I think a Tiger Woods card would be kind of cool. Because I used to golf in high school, so you might see some of those popping up in my store.
And then lastly, just I've mentioned it a bunch, and the importance that I put on watching your content. But for others, where can people find you? Follow you and learn more about what you got going on.
Yep, YouTube, CardzooSportsCards. That's the hub of everything. There's even they have a community tab on there or if you want to comment on a video, I read every comment. YouTube is the best place to find me. Comment, or you can post like in the community, I think the community section of my page. You might have to be a subscriber to do that. I can't remember. I do have Instagram and Facebook, but I don't follow those as closely, but I'll post stuff on there every now and then. But yeah, YouTube is the best place they can find me.
That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you doing this. And like I said at the very beginning, I just, you can tell people that have it and do it for the right reasons, and the heart of a teacher and all the things that you're doing right now to give back to the community. So I appreciate it for myself. I appreciate it for what you do for others as well. And I really enjoyed this, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. I had fun.